Hey friends, what if a single ring could freeze a kingdom in time, ignite greed to rival a dragon's horde, or enslave a king to eternal darkness? In J.R.R. Tolkien's The Lord of the Rings, the Rings of Power are the ultimate game changers, shaping Middle-earth's fate for millennia. But what are these 19 mysterious rings? The 3, the 7, and the 9. And why do they hold such sway? Grab a cozy spot by the fire because we're diving into a tale of craft, betrayal, and magic that'll keep you glued to the screen. Let's unravel this epic saga. Picture Middle-earth thousands of years ago in the Second Age, a golden era of ancient wonders, long before Bilbo or Frodo ever stumbled across a certain shiny ring. Our story kicks off in Eregion, a dazzling elven realm near the Misty Mountains, where the greatest craftsman of the age, Celebrimbor, works his magic. He's no ordinary elf, grandson of Feanor, the legendary smith who forged the Silmarils, those radiant gems from the Silmarillion. Creating epic artifacts? It's in Celebrimbor's blood. Enter Anatar, the Lord of Gifts, a charismatic stranger who arrives in Eregion with a tantalizing offer. He'll teach Celebrimbor and his guild of elven smiths to craft artifacts of unmatched power. Sounds like a dream deal, right? Here's the twist. Anatar is Sauron, the Dark Lord in disguise, weaving a web to bend Middle-earth to his will. Over years, Sauron guides Celebrimbor to forge 16 rings of power, each designed to amplify the wearer's abilities, but with a hidden catch. These rings are infused with Sauron's dark magic, built to be controlled by a secret weapon he's crafting in the fiery depths of Mount Doom. But Celebrimbor's no fool. Once he masters the craft, he goes rogue, forging 3 additional rings alone, free from Sauron's touch. These are the 3 Elven rings, pure and powerful, meant to preserve beauty and shield the elves from evil. Meanwhile, Sauron, in his volcanic lair, forges the One Ring, a master key to dominate all others. The moment he slips it on, Celebrimbor senses the betrayal. The ring's magic hums with Sauron's malice, and the elf realizes he's been played. This sparks the War of the Elves and Sauron, a brutal conflict around 1697 of the Second Age. Eregion falls, Celebrimbor meets a tragic end, and Sauron seizes the 16 rings he helped forge. But the 3? Celebrimbor hid them, sending them far from Sauron's grasp. This sets the stage for the ring's epic saga, splitting the 16 into the 7 for dwarves and the 9 for men, while the 3 become the elves' greatest secret. So, what makes these 19 rings, 3, 7, 9, so special? Each group has a unique purpose, shaped by the race they're given to. The 3 preserve, the 7 amplify, and the 9 enslave. But they're all tied to the One Ring, making them a double-edged sword. The Second Age's drama lays the foundation for a story that spans millennia, from elven havens to dwarven halls to the haunted shadows of men. The forging of the rings is a tale of ambition and deception. Sauron's plan was to control Middle-earth's mightiest races, but Celebrimbor's defiance ensured the elves had a fighting chance. The 3 rings, hidden away, became symbols of hope, while the 16 fell into Sauron's hands, setting off a chain of events that would echo through the ages. The ring's creation wasn't just a craft, it was a battle for Middle-earth's soul, fought in the fires of Eregion and the shadow of Mount Doom. Why do the rings matter? They're not just shiny trinkets, they're tools of power, each with a purpose that reflects its bearer's nature. The elves seek to preserve, the dwarves to hoard, and men to conquer. But Sauron's One Ring looms over them all, a constant threat that binds their fates. The war of the Elves and Sauron was only the beginning, a spark that ignited a saga of resistance, sacrifice, and loss. As we move forward, we'll explore each group of rings, starting with the three, which hold the Elves' dreams in their delicate glow. The 7 and 9 will follow, revealing how Sauron's plan played out across Middle-earth's races. And finally, we'll uncover the rings' shared fate and what they teach us about power and mortality. The Rings of Power are a story of creation gone awry, of beauty tainted by ambition, and of hope enduring against all odds. The Second Age was a time of wonders, but also of shadows. Sauron's deception and Celebrimbor's defiance set the stage for a struggle that would define Middle-earth. The rings, born in Eregion's forges, carried the weight of that struggle, each one a piece of a larger puzzle. As we dive deeper, we'll see how the 3 Elven rings became Middle-earth's greatest treasures, and how the 7 and 9 shaped the fates of dwarves and men. Want to know how these rings shaped Middle-earth? Let's zoom in to the 3 Elven rings, the heart of Elven magic. From betrayal to beauty, the 3 rings are Middle-earth's hidden gems. Welcome back, friends, to the shimmering world of the Elves. The 3 Elven rings, Narya, Nenya, and Vilya, are unlike any others. Forged by Celebrimbor alone in Eregion, they're free of Sauron's direct corruption, crafted with a single goal: to preserve the Elves' timeless beauty and protect their realms from evil. These aren't weapons for battle or rings that shoot lightning. They're artifacts of preservation, slowing the decay of time itself. But there's a catch. Even these pure rings are bound to Sauron's One Ring, making them risky to use while he wears it. Let's meet the 3, each tied to an Elven leader and a legendary realm. First up is Narya, the Ring of Fire, set with a glowing ruby. Its power to kindle hope and resistance against despair. Originally given to Círdan, the shipwright who runs the Grey Havens, Middle-earth's western port for elves sailing to the Undying Lands, Narya later passes to Gandalf around 1003rd Age. Why? Círdan sees Gandalf, a Maya sent by the gods, as Middle-earth's ultimate motivator, perfect for wielding Narya's spark. When Gandalf faces the Balrog or rallies the Fellowship, that fiery spirit might just be Narya at work. Ever notice him call himself a wielder of the flame of Ainur? That's no coincidence. Next, Nenya, the Ring of Water, shines with a diamond set in mithril, a metal stronger than steel but light as a feather. It belongs to Galadriel, the Lady of Lothlorien, given directly by Celebrimbor. Nenya's magic keeps Lothlorien a timeless paradise. Its golden Maloran trees untouched by age, but it comes at a cost. Wearing Nenya deepens Galadriel's longing for the sea, pulling her toward the Undying Lands. Only Frodo, as the One Ring's bearer, glimpses Nenya's starry glow on her finger, proof of its secrecy. Finally, Vilya, the Ring of Air, is the mightiest, adorned with a sapphire. It starts with Gil-galad, the High King of the Elves, who leads the fight against Sauron. Knowing war is perilous, Gil-galad passes Vilya to his trusted lieutenant, Elrond, before facing Sauron's wrath. Elrond uses Vilya to shield Rivendell, Middle-earth's hidden sanctuary. Ever wonder how Elrond heals Frodo's Morgul wound or summons that epic flood to wash away the Nazgûl? Vilya's healing and protective powers might be the secret ingredient. What makes the 3 special? Secrecy and sacrifice. Their bearers, Gandalf, Galadriel, Elrond, keep them hidden, unknown to Middle-earth's masses. While Sauron holds the One Ring, the elves dare not use them, fearing his control. But after the One is lost in the Second Age's final war, the 3 shine, preserving Lothlorien, Rivendell, and the Grey Havens as Middle-earth's last bastions of elven magic. Yet their power hinges on a bittersweet truth. If the One Ring is destroyed, the three will fade, and so will the elves' realms. The three rings are more than jewelry. They're symbols of the elves' eternal struggle to hold back time. Lothlorien's golden glow, Rivendell's hidden peace, and the Grey Haven's quiet grace all depend on these rings. But their connection to the One Ring makes them a gamble. Every moment of beauty they preserve is a moment closer to their inevitable end. The elves know this, yet they wield the rings, choosing to protect their realms despite the cost. Narya's fire inspires courage, Nenya's water sustains beauty, and Vilya's air shields the weary. Together, they form a triad of hope, each bearer carrying a piece of Middle-earth's fading magic. Gandalf, Galadriel, and Elrond are not just leaders, they're guardians of a world slipping away. Their secrecy ensures the rings' safety, but also their solitude. No one, not even their closest allies, knows the full weight they carry. The Three Rings story is one of quiet heroism. They don't dominate or destroy. They nurture and protect. But their power is fragile, tied to a ring that could end them all. As we move forward, we'll see how the 7 and 9 rings, tainted by Sauron's touch, contrast with this purity, and how all the rings share a common fate. The elves' sacrifice sets the stage for a larger tale, one that spans races and ages. The Three Rings guard elven dreams, but what about the rings Sauron did control? Let's march into the mountain halls of the Dwarves. All right, friends, let's march into the mountain halls of the Dwarves. The 7 Rings of Power, part of the 16, forged by Celebrimbor and Sauron together in Eregion, were gifted to the Dwarven kings, like Durin III of Khazad-dûm, the grandest dwarven city. Sauron's plan was clear: use these rings to dominate the stubborn dwarves, just as he aimed to control elves and men. But dwarves, crafted by the god Ola to resist corruption, threw a massive wrench in his scheme. Unlike the Elven rings, which preserve beauty, the 7 don't protect or inspire. They amplify, specifically, the wearer's greed and lust for wealth. Imagine a dwarven king, already fond of gold, suddenly obsessed with hoarding every coin, gem, and goblet. The rings supercharge this desire, leading to treasure piles that glitter like stars and attract trouble. Dragons, drawn to wealth like moths to a flame, attack these hoards, wreaking havoc. Sauron didn't get dwarven slaves, but he got chaos, which suited his dark purposes just fine. Here's the deal. The 7 don't work as Sauron hoped. Dwarves don't turn invisible or become wraiths. Sorry, no dwarven Nazgûl. Their tough nature, forged by Ola, limits the ring's power, making them more a nuisance than a leash. Over time, 4 of the 7 are destroyed by dragonfire, lost forever. Sauron eventually reclaims the other 3, but it's a slog. The last, held by Thrain II, Thorin's father from The Hobbit, isn't snatched until 28 and 45 Third Age, nearly 5,000 years after its forging. That's dwarven stubbornness for you. A quick myth bust. Some dwarves claim Durin's ring came straight from Celebrimbor, not Sauron. It's a proud tale, but Tolkien's texts suggest it's just dwarven bravado. All 7 were Sauron's handiwork, tainted from the start. Their legacy, treasure, dragons, and a reminder that even Sauron can't win every bet. The dwarves' resistance shows the ring's limits, but also their danger. Greed, once unleashed, invites destruction. The 7 rings reveal the dwarves' strength and weakness. Their resilience foiled Sauron's plan, but their greed brought ruin. The dragons that ravaged their halls were an unintended consequence, proving that even a flawed plan can wreak havoc. The ring's power to amplify desire is a double-edged sword, turning ambition into obsession. Each dwarven king who wore a ring became a cautionary tale. Their hordes grew, but so did their enemies. The rings didn't enslave them, but they ensnared them in a cycle of wealth and loss. This contrast with the Elven rings highlights the diversity of Sauron's scheme. Each race responds differently, but none escape unscathed. The Seven Rings story is one of defiance and downfall. The dwarves held their ground, but paid a price. As we turn to the Nine Rings, we'll see how men, far less resilient, fell completely under Sauron's sway. The dwarves' tale is a bridge between the elves' nobility and men's tragedy, showing the ring's varied impact. Loving this dive into Middle-earth's bling? Hit that like button and share your favorite dwarven moment in the comments. It keeps the adventure rolling. Next, we're diving into the Nine Rings, where things get really dark. Buckle up, friends, because the Nine Rings of Power take us to Middle-earth's darkest corner. Like the Seven, these nine were forged by Celebrimbor and Sauron in Eregion, part of the Tainted 16. Sauron gifted them to mortal men, kings, sorcerers, warriors, promising eternal life and boundless power. Sounds tempting, right? But these rings were Sauron's ultimate trap, turning their wearers into his most terrifying servants, the Nazgûl, the ring wraiths. The nine work differently from the Elven or Dwarven rings. They grant long life, sure, but at a horrific cost. The wearer becomes invisible, their body fading into a shadow world, fully under Sauron's control. Over time, these men lose their humanity, becoming hooded, screeching terrors who hunt Frodo and haunt Middle-earth's nightmares. Bound to the One Ring, the Nazgûl are Sauron's eyes, ears, and blades, unstoppable unless the one is destroyed. Who were these men? Tolkien doesn't name them all, but hints suggest they were mighty lords, like Númenórean kings or Eastern warlords. Their rings amplify ambition, twisting it into servitude. By the Third Age, they're fully wraiths, their rings either held by Sauron or still on their ghostly fingers. Either way, they're his forever. Want the full Nazgûl scoop? Stay tuned for the next video, where we'll dive into their creepy backstory. The Nine are Sauron's biggest win. Unlike the dwarves, men crave power and fear death, making them easy prey. Their transformation shows the ring's true danger. They don't just enhance, they consume. The Nazgûl's reign of terror only ends when the One Ring melts in Mount Doom, freeing their tortured souls. The Nine Rings are a stark contrast to the Three and Seven. Where the elves preserve and the dwarves resist, men fall. Their story is one of ambition gone wrong, a warning of what happens when power overrides wisdom. The Nazgûl, with their piercing cries and relentless pursuit, embody the ring's darkest potential. Each ring-bearer became a shadow of their former self, a puppet dancing on Sauron's strings. Their kingdoms crumbled, their names forgotten, leaving only the wraiths. This total domination sets the Nine apart, showing Sauron's cunning in exploiting human weakness. The Nine Rings' tale is one of tragedy and terror. They turned men into monsters, proving Sauron's mastery over the mortal heart. As we move forward, we'll see how all the rings, 3, 7, 9, are linked by the One, and what their shared fate means for Middle-earth. Dwarves dodged Sauron's full control, but men fell hard. Let's explore how all the rings connect in their shared fate. We've journeyed through the 3, 7, and 9 friends, but what ties these 19 rings of power together? It's the One Ring, Sauron's masterstroke, forged in secret to rule them all. Every ring, even the pure Elven three, uses Sauron's craft, linking them to his will. When he wears the one, he can sense the others, bending their bearers to his command, or at least trying to. Let's rewind to the Second Age. After Celebrimbor hides the three, Sauron's war on Eregion nets him the 16. He distributes the 7 to dwarves and 9 to men, hoping to dominate both races. The dwarves resist, but the men fall, becoming Nazgûl. The 3, meanwhile, stay hidden, passed to Galadriel, Gil-galad, and Círdan. When Sauron loses the One Ring in the War of the Last Alliance, cut from his hand by Isildur, the 3 finally shine. Galadriel, Elrond, and later Gandalf used the 3 to guard Lothlorien, Rivendell, and the Grey Havens, Middle-earth's last elven strongholds. But here's the rub. The ring's power is fragile. The 3 only work fully when the One is lost. But if the One is destroyed, all rings lose their magic. This is the heart of the Lord of the Rings. Frodo's quest to destroy the One is a double-edged sword. It defeats Sauron but dooms the Elven rings, fading their realms. The 7 and 9, tied to Sauron's will, either burn out or vanish with the Nazgûl. The ring's story is one of creation, corruption, and inevitable loss. Each ring, whether pure or tainted, carries the weight of Sauron's ambition. The elves' preservation, the dwarves' greed, and the men's enslavement all stem from the same flawed craft. The ring's shared fate reveals their true nature, tools of power that cannot endure. The One Ring's destruction is a victory, but also a farewell to Middle-earth's magic. The elves, knowing this, still wield their rings, choosing to protect their realms while they can. The dwarves and men, less aware, suffer the ring's consequences, from dragonfire to wraithdom. This interconnectedness makes the rings more than artifacts. They're a web of choices and consequences. Sauron's plan to dominate failed in part, but succeeded in spreading chaos. The ring's power, whether to preserve, amplify, or enslave, always comes with a price, paid by every bearer in their own way. The ring's story is a tapestry of triumph and tragedy. As we reach the final chapter, we'll explore what this means for Middle-earth and beyond. The ring's legacy is not just in their power, but in what they teach us about time, loss, and hope. This brings us to the ring's deepest meaning. What do they tell us about Middle-earth and ourselves? Here we are, friends, at the end of our Rings of Power saga. These 19 artifacts, 3 for elves, 7 for dwarves, 9 for men, aren't just shiny trinkets. They're Tolkien's meditation on power, mortality, and the passage of time. Each ring reflects its bearer's heart. The elves preserve beauty, the dwarves chase wealth, and men fall to ambition. But all face the same truth. Nothing lasts forever. When Frodo casts the One Ring into Mount Doom in 3019, Third Age, Sauron falls and the rings of power fade. The Nazgûl dissolve, the Dwarven Rings lose their pull, and the Elven Rings, Narya, Nenya, Vilya, become mere relics. Lothlorien dims, Rivendell empties, and the Grey Havens grow quiet. Galadriel, Elrond, and Gandalf, the ring-bearers, sail west to the Undying Lands, joined by Frodo and Bilbo. This is the last riding of the ring-bearers, marking the Fourth Age, the dominion of men. Yet there's hope amid the loss. Galadriel's gift to Sam, a Malin seed, grows into a tree that carries Lothlorien's light to the Shire. Tolkien's message is clear. Beauty fades, but its legacy endures in new forms. The rings teach us to cherish what's precious, even as it passes, and to plant seeds for the future. As Tolkien wrote, his tale isn't about power, but about death and the desire for deathlessness. Isn't that a thought that hits home? The Rings' legacy is bittersweet. They gave Middle-earth moments of wonder, but also sorrow. The Elves' realms, preserved for millennia, fade into memory, but their spirit lives on in the Shire's Malin Tree, in Aragorn's kingdom, in the tales told by hobbits. The dwarves' hordes and the men's wraiths are gone, but their stories warn us of greed and ambition unchecked. Each ring, from Narya's fire to the Nazgûl's shadow, tells a piece of Middle-earth's story. They're not just artifacts, they're mirrors, showing us the best and worst of those who wield them. The elves' sacrifice, the dwarves' resilience, and the men's fall all speak to the human condition, to our own struggles with time and power. The Rings of Power are a reminder that all things pass, but what we leave behind matters. The elves knew their realms would fade, yet they fought to preserve them. The dwarves built empires that drew dragons, yet they endured. The men sought immortality and found only shadow, yet their tale warns us to choose wisely. Together, these stories weave a tapestry of loss and hope, of endings and new beginnings. This saga, born in Eregion's forges, ends in the fires of Mount Doom, but its echoes linger. The Rings of Power are gone, but their lessons remain. Cherish the moment, guard against corruption, and plant seeds for tomorrow. Middle-earth moves on, and so must we, carrying its wisdom into our own stories. That's the Rings of Power, friends, a tale of craft, sacrifice, and time's unstoppable march. Which ring speaks to you most? Narya's fire, Nenya's glow, or the Nazgûl's shadow? Drop it in the comments, smash that like button, and subscribe for more Middle-earth adventures. Share this with a fellowship of your own to keep the magic alive. Until next time, stay groovy and Nenya, Melon Nin.